All right, we rocking. Yes, sir.
Oh, for surely.
We getting. All right, let's hear it, man. Yeah. My boy Dox.
Certifiably intertwined with the time and I'm from the soil. Learning when them heads are spinning and blood boil. Shadow lenses in it isn't consistent. All the movement swimming all through the tank. Ain't nothing to it, boy, I've been that way. Sideways to the coast, boy, I've been that way. Shark infested water swimming in place. Testing your luck, thinking everything is everything. Shaking for what? You playing yourself for money while we living it up. Like you ain't never seen them bipping in broad day. I seen them catching niggas slipping on Broadway. A hard place to thrive if you got no drive and no heart. This is Southside, baby. We the home of the shark.
Hey. Put them hands up, even when they're trying to play too cool. Feeling everything you do. It's the home of the sharks, home of the sharks, home of the sharks.
Man, this song went off crazy at Sofa Fest. Sofa Fest this year was like one of the best receptions that I've had. I've been performing at Sofa for like 10 years, and this past side was probably one of the best. You know what I'm saying? Performing with a live band and shit, and had everybody participating on the hook and shit. Had 3 backup singers on the hook. It was crazy. Shit was crazy.
That's hard, man. I still remember your performance at Culture Night Market.
Oh yeah,
that was hard. That was my first introduction to you.
Right,
that was the first time.
Yeah,
that's what's up, man. Fresh out of the pandemic.
Fresh out the pandemic, man. Home of the sharks.
Riled up off the words I spoke. The coast is wild. Will you answer the call when your number is dialed?
Who's on the hook?
Stussy, DJ, and Ricky.
Okay, they're from San Jose too. They're from
San Jose. Yeah.
Nice. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Hey, real South Bay Area. I love that. I love you say this is real South. Gotta put that on there, man.
Yes, sir.
Home of the Sharks. I always appreciate the San Jose representation, man. It's always got to be real San Jose culture. You know what I'm saying? Man. I feel like that was definitely in there. So, well, first and foremost, it ain't exclusive. If it ain't an Emblem exclusive, it's your boy BQ. We right here in the heart of Silicon Valley, right here in downtown San Jose, off Sofa District, and we accompanied by a very special guest. One of my guys performed early on with us at the Culture Night Market. I'm talking about like day one days in the Now parking lot when we was just barely starting off and stuff like that. And he came through with a live band and did his thing. You know what I'm saying? So I want to go ahead and introduce my guest, DOX BLACK in the flesh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pleasure to be here, man. Grateful to, you know what I'm saying, be a part of this and to see y'all growth, man, for surely.
Hell yeah, man. Well, first and foremost, thank you for making it today.
I know you just came me, for sure.
Straight from doing an interview with KSJS. So
yes, sir.
See you campaigning, doing your thing.
Yep. Shout out to Barhemian and the whole KSJS, fam and staff for, the constant support for local artists. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, man. So first and foremost, I know you recently dropped the project Age of Enlightenment.
Absolutely.
And that was in January. So it's been 5 months.
Yeah.
Get the people to digest and soak in the music. I mean, what's so far what's people's responses like from what you've been?
Man, it's been such a dope response. This being the 10th year in a row that I've released on January 1st on New Year's Day. You know what I'm saying? A decade of releasing projects.
Oh, so you always do on the.
It started out just kind of releasing. On the first, it was just kind of spontaneous, and then from there, I was just like, okay, maybe I could just keep this going. And then it was like a couple years, and it was like 5 years, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna just keep going. And next thing you know, it's 10 years deep, and I've cemented myself as one of the most consistent artists out of San Jose. You know what I mean? And not just with my music, but also my performances and my go-getter spirit. You know what I mean? So, it's been a long time coming, and it's really showed how much growth that I've endured as an artist, and also how much support that I've had over the years from fans and friends and family and whatnot. And it really just shows me how much people are looking for good music, no matter where they get it from, where they see it, where they receive it. And that this project has been no different. They've really shown how much people tune into my music and tune into lyricism and creativity and setting yourself apart.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate you breaking that down. My bad. This guy, he's super loving, man. You know, he got to be in the mix and shit. You could grab his thing and just throw that shit. He'll fucking leave you alone. So you say you performed at Sofa. You know, you had always been showcasing, performing at Sofa. A historic event. It's been going on for decades. Like, what was the last performance at Sofa? How long ago was it? It was
so Sofa Festival. It's twice a year fest that they throw in the streets of Sofa District, South First Street, and they have a spring edition and a fall edition. And during the pandemic, they had a time where it was just like live streaming, instead of in person. So now that the pandemic is over, they're back to the streets and in full force. And this past month when they did it, San Jose really turned out, and you could tell that people are ready for something back outside. And you guys are a pure testament of that, where every outdoor festival that you guys throw a block party and these festivals happen, the city of San Jose comes out in full strength and they come to support. And this was one of the best receptions that I've had. I've been rocking with the Sofa Fest for like 10 years in different capacities, in different venues, the back bar, different things like that. And, I've been fortunate enough to rock on the main stages for the past like handful of years. And that's actually where I birthed the band that I rock with, the Aquanauts. So DOX and the Aquanauts is a live band that I rock with, which is an assembly of different artists and musicians from different bands and stuff that I'll bring together like Voltron, and we'll end up bringing a better production and bigger feels for the crowds and for live energy that people sometimes look for. Sometimes people don't want to just see a rapper, depending on like the event itself, and it really branches that part of my live show out. And this past one, it was great, man. I rocked with Rebels Camp, and brought some backup singers, and it just really was a great reception. City of San Jose was really vibing, and it was the best performance that I've had.
Hell yeah. Hey, it's crazy you mentioned that, because I remember you guys performed at PayPal Park.
That's right, for the Juneteenth.
You guys killed that shit. I remember. And I agree with you on that, like, as far as like the element of performance, right? When it's just a rapper and it's just him and the beat. Obviously there's some artists that have great stage presence, right? Absolutely. But when you have the element of like a live band, it just adds so much like level of the experience. Like, it enhances the experience. Yeah,
especially for people who don't necessarily say they're not necessarily rap fans, like to the core. When you have a live band, it kind of branches out to the people who just like the live energy and just like music. It's like, if it's just a rapper and a DJ, sometimes it's off-putting to people who don't necessarily have that, that itch to really vibe with what they're saying or whatnot. And like you said, a lot of rappers don't have great stage presence. I pride myself on being able to, kill anybody in a live stage performance by myself, and then bringing that with the band behind me is untouchable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it comes with experience, right?
Absolutely.
And speaking of experience, I want to also, because our social media, we've been growing over the years. We do interviews with artists. We do interviews with business owners, people that just in the creative space in general. And so it's funny because like I'm familiar with you, right? And I brought people on that I've known for years, but I have audience members that they tune in and they're just getting introduced to people. Right. So I want to give you an opportunity to kind of like talk a little bit about your history, being an artist in San Jose. When did you first start rapping? Right. And why did you choose to like go all in with this?
Well, for me, music has always been a part of my life, and San Jose being my roots. I've always have had a big respect for what the culture has been in San Jose as far as music goes, and being a part of the Bay Area that sometimes get overlooked but still has a very strong foundation of musical history.
For sure.
And I grew up in the Cactus Club, for instance. My pop, shout out to Stickmon, he was one of the co-owners of the Cactus Club, and that was a big hub for a lot of bands, including some hip hop. It was a really heavy metal kind of vibe, but it also had a hip hop section of it,
Yeah.
where, you know, the Living Legends started their broke ass summer jam in there. You know, a lot of up and comers went through there, and you know, that gave me a big exposure to a lot of different types of music. You know, growing up in a very musical and art driven family, you know, I had a lot of different types of genres circulating around my circumference. So it's like I really had a lot of different experience with music. And when I started gravitating towards what I liked, you know, it kind of stemmed from, you know, being very young and seeing certain things on like MTV, you know, or whatnot, that I really gravitated towards. And then, you know, hearing a lot of like different types of music. You know, I've always kept my ear to the street and heard different things. Whether or not I was into it, I'll listen to everything. And, you know, being a fan of lyricism and, you know, hip hop that was different than what the mainstream was, and kind of like focusing on things that like really appealed to me is kind of where my foundation lies. So that, you know, when my music was starting to be developed, and you know, I've been producing and MCing about the same time. You know, it started kind of in high school and stuff, messing around with homies in like garages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know, I was fortunate enough to get a Tascam 4-track when I was in high school, you know, with tapes, where it's like, you know, we really had, and producing on these 4-track you know, machines, where it was like really just, you know, manual analog type of vibes. And it's just like being able to do that, having such a hands-on feel with my production, it kind of just put a spark under me to where, you know, a lot of rappers, they're either, and producers, they're either a rapper or a producer, a rapper or a beat maker. You know what I mean? It's like usually one or the other. So being that I was able to have, you know, both, best of both worlds, it was like I was able to really hone in on my development as an artist, and, you know, in different ways, different shapes and forms. And so that's kind of where my foundation was. And from there, I just kind of, you know, expanded over the years and used different ways of production, different means of production. And as that grew in a beat maker production sense, you know, my lyrics and my content and my cadences and my confidence in my lyricality grew as well, you know. So over the years, I've definitely had my share of traveling. You know, after I graduated high school, I moved to Hawaii, lived out there for 8 years, you know, worked with the underground musicians out there and stuff like that. And, you know, there was a lot of talent there and everywhere, where I realized, you know, after I left there, I moved to Vegas for 4 years, and then I moved to New York for 5 years, you know. So I've been fortunate enough to kind of follow my dreams and do the things that other people are kind of afraid to do. And, you know, stepping outside of your comfort zone is really the only way to grow, you know. So in so many different forms, I've found ways to do that, and that's kind of like how I've developed as an artist, and the ways that like I've shown not only myself but other people how to, you know, be different and to, you know, go against the grain. And that's kind of been my, you know, my MO and my motivation from the jump, is just kind of being able to show how different you could be. You know, I come from an era that, like, you know, a lot of people got famous and got known for how different you were. You know, whereas nowadays you can kind of get more famous and get more fame and get more notoriety based on how much you sound like another artist, you know. So I come from an era that, like, you had to be unique in order to break through, in order to, you know, stand out. You literally had to stand out, and you had to be different and do something different than everybody else. So for me, that's always been a focus. I've always, you know, tried to deviate and, you know, just be different, man. You know what I mean? So that's really gotten me to where I'm at today. And, you know, I still focus on that no matter what. It's just, you know, deviate, do something, put some paint where it ain't, you know, do something different, and, you know, make sure that, you know, you're not following the next man, and, you know, really trailblazing out here.
Hell yeah, staying original.
Yeah, man.
And I like that one. Put paint where it ain't.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
gonna use that one, bro. That's a good one.
Shout out to
I like
40
that one.
Water, man.
Hey,
you know
hell
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
I like 40. He got a few. He's like, I'm all over the place like space.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, I like that, man. And it goes to show that there's a lot of context of where your music influences come from. You know what I
Surely.
mean? I think like what you mentioned earlier about like traveling and just tasting different cultures and different environments that love the same thing, right? Music or hip hop in this sense, but it's different in different places. You know what I mean? Like even in the creative landscape, like doing like podcasts and stuff like that, what I'm doing, when I would go to LA or Arizona, like or even Las Vegas, you just find people that are knee deep, locked in this same kind of stuff, but in a whole different flavor. You know what I mean? And I think that brings a lot of value to an artist that wants to like expand their way of approaching it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I can only imagine, you know, so you were talking about, you know, your history with San Jose, and that's pretty dope. You said, so your pops used to own a club, or was it like a venue?
Cactus Club. Yeah,
okay.
Cactus
Where was that
Club.
located?
It was right there across from the Ritz, where the Ritz is now. What's known as the Ritz. It's Club Miami now. Yeah, you know, a lot of big acts came through there, and, you know, it's ingrained in San Jose music history. You know, a lot of acts like, you know, from the No Doubts to even Nirvana and, you know, Papa Roach and all these up and comers, you know, all came through there as like, you know, ground zero as far as where, you know, San Jose was as far as the music scene goes, and you had to go through there. You know what I mean? So. Literally growing up in there, I wasn't supposed to be in there, you know, but you know, I was there. You know what I mean?
Some benefits of, you know, your pops being the boss.
Yeah, for surely. And so, you know, I really seen a lot of different vibes come through there, and you know, it really just kind of opened my eyes to, you know, San Jose culture and really what, you know, we had to offer as far as so many different genres goes. You know what I mean? So being able to push hip hop and really push the culture forward for hip hop is really important to me, because, you know, over the years, we've seen venues change. We've seen the amount of musical venues minimize and kind of get pushed out, you know, with the voodoo lounges and stuff like that, and the tunes. You know, different places have definitely closed down that made music available to the public. And as that's kind of, you know, shrunk, you know, hip hop has done the same. You know, whether or not it's not only accepted by the people who are making these events happen, but also, you know, to the outlook of hip hop to, you know, the city and different people that kind of have negative connotation of what hip hop is. You know, that's changed over the landscape of hip hop has changed over the years in that regard. And so, you know, being able to kind of bring that back to the forefront and bring a different perspective on what hip hop can be and what it is definitely important to me. So, you know, being able to do that in my capacity in any amount, I'm very grateful for. And, you know, it's definitely something that I take seriously. And, you know, hip hop is such a broad mainstream thing now. It's like, you know, it's easy to get washed out. It's easy to get overlooked and you know, pushed aside into this, you know, one kind of vibe of what to expect from it, whether it's negative or positive. They kind of try to consolidate it and brand it to what they think that hip hop is, or the misrepresentation of what hip hop is. And, you know, anything that I can do to kind of put the focus of hip hop back into what it really means as far as culture and originality and, you know, the people, that's what I'm going to do creatively. And, you know, in a business sense, any way, shape or form I can push hip hop in the right direction, I'm definitely going to do it.
Hell yeah. Playing your role in hip hop in San Jose.
Straight up.
And I agree with you on that. There has been a lot of like gentrification in San Jose, a lot of business owners that, you know, uplifted hip hop and like gave it a stage and gave it a platform for people to showcase, bring in big artists to the city, which I think is always important, right? Because when you bring other influences to the city, that brings more people to the city, which translates into more business for the people around it.
Right.
And I think there needs to be more of that, you know what I mean? So I agree with you as far as, you know, that it's been missing, and,
Yeah.
and it's there. Don't get me wrong.
It is
There are people that are putting on, but
Yeah.
I think there could be room. There's area of opportunity for it to continue and
Absolutely.
to grow.
And you know, when people think of the Bay Area, obviously the first thing they think of is, as far as music goes and stuff like that, is Oakland and San Francisco, you know, and rightfully so. You know, we have a strong history out there and representation out there. But you know, San Jose is definitely on the map and should be represented well, you know. And if I can carry that banner as much as I can, you know, that wave that flag as much as I can, I'll definitely do it, no matter where I'm at too. You know what I mean? I've traveled and toured for years and across the country and internationally, and always put on for San Jose and always represent for Shark City. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, Shark City, like on your shirt.
Yes, sir.
Shout out
yes,
to the
sir.
Harvest Empire.
Yes, sir.
I
Shout
didn't
out to
notice that
Harvest
joint.
Empire. You know what I mean?
That's
Rock
the
with the
original.
folks.
I fuck with
Yeah.
Harvest Empire. They were also there with the Culture Night Market at one of the first events too. I
Yes.
think it was the same one that you actually
Yeah,
performed
yeah,
at.
yeah. Shout out to the folks.
So on the note of hip hop in San Jose, like what are some things that are related to hip hop that you see in San Jose right now, or things for the culture in general that you think are good for the city that you've been seeing like progressing?
Well, you know, one of the solutions that has came from a lack of venues, as far as like a enclosed or you know, the venues that are kind of internal to venues, you know, one of the challenges was locations, and one of the solutions was events outdoor. So I think a lot of, including Culture Night Market and, you know, Sofa Fest and, you know, Sub-Zero Fest and all these local entrepreneurs that are putting on block parties and outdoor events, I think that's been integral to the development of hip hop and live music once again post-pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously the pandemic created its own challenges, and so now that we're kind of on the outside of that, you know, I definitely see that being one of the biggest benefits to hip hop, and doors being open to hip hop is these outdoor events, and you know, it's only growing, you know, considering that things like First Friday has always been there, but now we have, you know, more events popping up and more support for, you know, live music once again. And, you know, it's really good to see, you know what I mean? No matter in what capacity that we have hip hop showcased in San Jose, you know, it's always good to see it flourishing and thriving, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah. Growth, man. We love to see it. We love to see people putting on for the city.
Yeah.
Especially if they're born and raised out here, you know what I
Right.
mean? Putting on
Right.
for the city. Even, you know, we got people that come from other places that come to San Jose and impact. They become impact players and stuff
Right.
like that. I think that's
Right.
good for the city too.
Absolutely. You know, and honestly, you know, it's a fine line. It's a balance between, you know, being culture vultures and just kind of like taking what is already there and spinning it as if you have a part in it, or if you're actually helping the community build these foundations and structures of business and you know, music and events and supporting people that are actually doing it. You know, there's a fine line, man, because you know, it's easy. You know, you talk about gentrification, and you know, I think gentrification comes in a lot of different forms, whether it's, you know, just
Property or,
you know,
even,
property or culture, or even art. You know, art or music, or just how it's represented, you know, how people try to latch onto what's already happening, you know, and it's really a balance. So, you know, you'll always have people that are pushing it, and then you have people that are watching the people that are pushing it. So for me, you know, I always want to kind of put my hands into whatever I can as far as how I can push it forward, and not just be a bystander, and actually be active in the community, and, you know, throw events myself, or, you know, be a part of different events that are coming up, or, you know, contact, you know, people that are doing things. Because for me, you know, I've always focused on your network being your net worth. And, you know, if you're not able to work with people and talk to people and connect with people, you're going to be dead in the water. You know, you're going to sink. It's sink or swim out here. And in reality, the only way to swim is to swim with other people, and, you know, like I said, put paint where it ain't, and make sure that, you know, you doing something that other people aren't doing, and bringing value to these organizations and to these communities, and bringing something different, and bringing different ideas, and, you know, staying ahead of the curve. And really, that's all you can do, you know, as an artist and as a producer and as a you know, a curator. Really, it's just about staying ahead of the curve and working with people that are already doing it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's important. Collaboration is key.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Work with people with like minds, people that actually give a fuck, you know what I'm saying, about the culture.
Yeah. And not just doing it. Not just doing it just to, you know, for the optics of it, just to look good, or just to like act like you're a part of something, or that you're, you know, bigger than the culture, because you can't be bigger than the culture. You can't be bigger than the people and bigger than the community. You really have to find a way to work with the community instead of trying to be an overseer. You know what I mean?
That part, man. You can't sink or swim in the city of sharks. Let's just say that.
Right.
You know, there's you know, it's the city of sharks for a reason.
Right. For surely.
So what's coming up, man? What should people anticipate? You know what I'm saying? I know, you know, we're in May.
Yep.
It's gonna go in June. Right here about it. Borderline summer is already here.
Yep.
And it's already starting to get hot.
Yeah.
So like, what's coming up for DOX BLACK, man?
Yeah, you know, I got a lot of things on deck, a lot of shows, a lot of traveling that's on deck, and, you know, music obviously is kind of, you know, been my focus for a long time, and so I'm definitely going to continue with that, continue on the tradition of putting out albums on the first, and different other things that I have in works, you know, some video production and stuff like that, and, you know, again, shows are always happening, so definitely you know, will catch me out rocking with the people, connecting with the audience, and I got pretty much shows every month, and you know, I just try to stay consistent with that. And so, you know, there's a lot on the deck, and you know, to think about what's next for me, it's always progression. It's always, you know, where can I take it from point A to point B and to point C, and what's next after that. So my mind's always running, my productivity is always running, and so, you know, it's always something going on. So definitely, you know, tap in with that. You can go to my website, doxblack.com, and get updates about what I'm doing. Follow me on Instagram or wherever you find your social media or good music, and you'll definitely, you know, get an idea of what I got coming up.
So for someone that hasn't heard of you yet, and you want to show them who you are, or as far as like what's the best song to represent you from what you have already put out, what would that song be?
Well, you know, I'm multifaceted, so my music is very well balanced with different things like, you know, lyricism and great beats and great hooks and great content, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's really about what you're into and what you'll gravitate towards. For me, you know, I've always been into big lyricism, and, you know, I think that a lot of my music stretches over a lot of different demographics, and most recently, some of my music has gotten picked up by Shoe Palace, and is being played across the country. And nice. Ironically enough, they picked up a couple different joints that are completely different from one another. So one of them is a super lyrical song called Liquid, called Listen. Called Listen. Liquid is another joint off of another album, but Listen, featuring my boy Butch Swim on the cuts. Super lyrical, super hip hop to the core. And they picked up another joint called Dynamite, which is a little more, has a little more commercial appeal, a little more geared towards like the ladies or whatnot, and still very lyrical, but has a lot of vibes incorporated into it, and it has a singer on the hook. And so those are great representations of the spectrum of balance that I have in my sound. And so I would say one of those two are probably some of the best representations of the different sides of me that you'll find on all of my albums.
So it's Listen, and then
Listen and Dynamite. Yeah, Dynamite. I have a video. Definitely check that out on YouTube. shout out to Visions of Venus for letting us do it in their location, Team Dunson on the visuals, and all the people that had a hand in that video. That was probably one of my best videos. Shout out to San Jose Carl for letting me use his drop top in the woo wop, and it was dope, man. It was great experience, and one of my best videos to date. So, I've done projects fully produced by other people as well. So, shout out to them as well. You know what I mean? So we just try to keep it various, man. And whether it's myself or other producers, we just got to keep it funky.
Hell yeah, man. Well, that's pretty dope, man, because I think it's a pretty, it's tough to produce and write, do your own stuff, because, a lot of people like to outsource stuff like that, which I think collaboration is key, it's important to, collaborate with people that are, specialized in one area.
Absolutely.
And, it gives people a taste of what you can do, and that's hard, man. As far as engineering, like, are you engineering your stuff too as well?
No, I usually work out of different studios, and although I'm familiar with the engineering process, and I have engineered myself in the past, like you said, it's kind of beneficial to work with people who specialize in those things and kind of put that in their hands to be able to focus, tunnel vision on what needs to be done, and delegate that part of the mission to them, and it's always a pleasure working with different engineers that know what they're doing, and working different studios out here in San Jose and all across the Bay Area and the country, because it's not about what you do, it's how you do it. So it's really about how they go about engineering or any art form, because engineering is an art form just like production or videography. You know what I mean? It's all the art form. So however they focus and however they execute in their own expertise, I definitely respect that, and definitely will continue to have big respect for people who focus their lives and their creativity in those directions, for the long haul. You know what I mean? So shout out to them, and shout out to all the engineers and producers and MCs out there who have rocked with me and rock with my sound and continue to push the culture forward.
Hell yeah. Is there anyone in particular that that you're paying attention to in San Jose that's like they're putting in work, and you're a big supporter, I guess, of whatever they do, whether it's art, music, business, clothing? Would love to just kind of, I'm all about just putting people on. I want to hear from people like who they're paying attention to. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, there's definitely a lot of artists that are trying to put stuff together. I mean, big up to y'all, man. I mean, Culture Night Market, you and Emlyn have definitely done your part in pushing the culture forward, man, and I definitely respect that. There's also other collectives and stuff, like Progress in Numbers, and people that are putting events together to help push forward, any part of the culture, whether it's, open mics or putting together events for, companies, or just throwing events, you know what I mean? So I definitely want to shout out, a lot of the venues that are indoor venues that are putting on for hip hop and are allowing a platform for hip hop to be, executed in, you know what I mean? So shout out to all the venues. As far as individuals go, I would say, there's definitely a strong collective of hip hop and R&B that are merging as one, you know what I mean, in the city, artists like Xavier, artists like,
oh yeah, Xavier's dope,
different artists like that are really bringing both together, that's really strong for me. And also, just the organizations out here that are growing, that are embracing hip hop as a positive thing versus, having such a negative connotation of the art form and the music for so long. So, all the people that are putting together outdoor events as well. And, people like Philco who are always supporting myself and the art form of hip hop, like Tully Night Market definitely is one of those organizations that are new to to the area and definitely pushing the culture forward and, you know, trying to put on artists and bring the community together. And that's is so amazing to see, you know, over the years, how much progression has happened and how much is still yet to go. You know what I mean? So shout out to them, man.
Hey, beautiful, man. Always showing love to the city, man. Let us see the growth. I guess this speak it into existence segment, which is goals. Like, what are the goals that you want to accomplish? Like, just putting it out there so like we can look back at this in the future and be like, this is the things I wanted to pursue, and you can look back and be like, and I did it. You know what I'm saying? So what would that be for you?
Word. Well, you know, for me, I've always made it a point to tour. And, you know, last year was no exception. You know, I toured with Copyright and stuff and all up and down the West Coast. And, you know, that's kind of something that I am continuing to focus on is my next tour, my next locations, my next adventure as far as where I'm going to be. And so I definitely see myself getting on bigger events, you know, touring more, getting on more festivals. You know, there's been some staples in San Jose, in the Bay Area, that influence kind of what's going on in San Jose. But, you know, other festivals that have happened like High Road Day and 420 Smokeout that they had in the Monterey fairgrounds last year that I was fortunate enough to be invited to and rock with like E40 and Pilo and all them. So, you know, those kind of events really mean a lot to me. As far as a collection of people that are coming to support hip hop in a mass representation of it. And, you know, I definitely see myself getting on more festivals and more tours as the months and years come.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, I love that. Hopefully we look down the line and we get to catch you at one of these big festivals out here.
Absolutely.
Not even in the Bay Area. Maybe it's outside. Maybe it's further down south or even outside of the state.
Yeah, you know, like being able to travel to these different states and parts of the country, you definitely see the representation exist in so many different ways and so many different places. And like you said, you might not even be familiar with it or might not know that it's there, but it exists. You know, like Vegas, for instance, is a great example of the culture that exists behind the lights, as they call it, to where, you know, the First Fridays out there. And you know, I keep bringing up First Fridays because that's a super cultural thing that happens at every part of the country. Every major city has a First Friday, and it really focuses on art and music and culture and stuff like that, but you won't necessarily know it from face value. So you really have to go and kind of invest your time and investigate and find those areas because it really pushes the culture forward. And, you know, I'm happy to see that and happy to be a part of it in any capacity everywhere that I go. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, it's interesting you bring that up because I actually went to Vegas for my birthday. We went late though. I went like, was it August or September? But I went and I went to their First Friday, and that shit was lit.
Crazy.
I'm talking about like blocks.
Crazy.
And it was just
the
inspiring.
art district.
Yeah, they had like multiple performances.
Yeah.
You know, because I've been to Oakland's First Friday, and I've been going to them
live
for a lot of the times.
Yeah.
It's Telegraph's super long, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, Santa Clara Street's pretty long too, but you don't really see events in Santa Clara Street unless it's like a parade.
Right. Cinco de Mayo, maybe cruising.
Yeah, mostly it's like SOFA is our activation area.
Yeah.
But theirs was pretty fucking big, man. I'm talking about like blocks.
Oh yeah, Vegas. It's crazy. You know what's crazy about the art district in Vegas is that okay, so one of my first videos that I've done like maybe 10 years ago was done in the arts district of Vegas. The video is called Phoenix Rising. Shout out to Mad Hatter who produced that. It was a video where I've directed a good number of my own videos where I've written it out and kind of like done scene segments where I want to see certain things. And so I had written out this one segment where I wanted to find a homeless guy and give him money, you know what I mean? Just kind of like in the as a scene. And so we're recording the video, we're shooting the video, and it's in the arts district, and we're like in this alleyway that has graffiti or whatnot, and I see this homeless guy walking by, and I'm like, okay, this is perfect. You know, we're at that part of the video. I'm like, okay, here's this homeless guy. Let me call him over. And I was like, hey man, you know, I'd love for you to be in this video. I'm going to give you some money, and then whatever money I give you, you could take. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so we proceed to keep shooting the video, and I end up and I'm wearing like, you know, the V for Vendetta mask, you know, to kind of inspire like kind of a revolutionary kind of vibe, right? And so I hand this guy money, you know, he takes it, and we kind of proceed to, you know, finish the video. I give him my thanks, you know, we talk for just a little bit, not very much, you know, he kind of goes on his way. I'm like, okay. In post-production, we basically finish up the video, and then I'm showing the video to a friend of mine. Shout out to Roz One out there. I'm showing him the video, and he pauses the video, and he's like, bruh, do you know who that is? And I'm like, man, I you know, it was just a homeless guy that we just came across. He was like, bro, this guy ended up being the first individual who opened an art gallery in the arts district of Las Vegas. And it was such a shock to the system because, you know, Vegas has always been really mob influenced and really focused on money and stuff. The art side has always been pushed to the left. So when he opened this art gallery, he basically got pushed out, and he had to close his art gallery. You know, fast forward, now the art district is super big and super thriving, but he kind of started that, and now he's homeless because he got pushed out. And so I'm here in the video handing him a $5 bill, which on the $5 bill, it has a Lincoln's face on it, right? So the imagery was just blowing my mind, like the connection to slavery and how we're slaves to the dollar, and it was unplanned. You know, I handed him the freedom of money, but we're slaves to the dollar, and I'm handing him this person who was pushing the culture so much. Handing him freedom from something that's keeping us slaves. You know, and he was the one who started all that, and he's like he's a symbol of what it means to be original and be pushed out and still have them work an angle to where they benefit off what he did, even though he you know, got pushed out and is now homeless. That's you know crazy. What I mean? It's crazy how all that worked without even really planning it, and the symbolism behind it. You know, that's definitely one of my favorite stories of videos, but also, you know, being a part of that and being immersed into that culture of Las Vegas art, you know, and culture. It really meant a lot to me, and it really, you know, just goes to show you never really know who's been a part of the push, who's trying to make a push, and you know what we can do as individuals to kind of help that process. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a wild story, bro. Yeah, it's pretty deep too.
Yeah,
like you said, like this guy was a pioneer in a sense.
Facts.
And you know, he got pushed out because of the obstacles, the challenges, which it's just tough, you know what I mean? Yeah. Especially trying to build a business, and what are the odds that he was the one that you gave the dollar to? Of all people
walking
so someone
by.
From Vegas probably saw it and was like, damn, you know who that is?
Yeah.
So that's how it played out.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
It's wild how that works. But, you know, life is like that, man. You know, you put yourself in the right position, and you position yourself to win and to you know, really be mindful of your actions and what you're doing to push things forward. Things happen, you know what I mean? Things will naturally come to fruition, and as long as your head and your heart and your hustle is in the right place, things will happen. You know, I really believe that. And, you know, it's one thing to kind of follow another person's vision, and it's another thing to kind of trailblaze, and no matter what the obstacles are, you know, you push it forward, and you know, nothing in life comes easy. You know what I mean? It's about that hard work and what you're willing to sacrifice and the dedication that comes behind that. And, you know, my music is a perfect testament to that. You know, I've never stopped being original, never stopped trying to trailblaze and make things hop for myself and for, for hip hop in general. And, no matter if you're the popular choice or, because a lot of the time in hip hop, it's a popularity contest. It's not about what it is that you're doing. It's about who or, the copycat mentality of how you could be like somebody else. Like I was talking about, that'll get you far, but it doesn't equate to integrity. It doesn't equate to, how much effort is put into it. And, sometimes people just want things handed to them easy. Yeah. And if that's the case, if it comes easy, it can go easy. You know what I mean? If you work for it, it really means that much more to you and to other people. And, people will gravitate towards that. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've always focused on, working hard and connecting with people that are like-minded and that are willing to put in that same work, and that's why I've gone to things like South by Southwest for so many years and performed out there, because it is really important to align yourself with your next moves and, where you can progress in different ways, shape, or form. You know what I mean? So, it's important, man. It's important to me, and it should be important to any upcoming artist to kind of focus on your networking game and also doing something different. Even in business, you got to find a niche that isn't filled yet, and you really have to, focus on what you can do to make something out of nothing, and really that's what hip hop came from, is making something out of nothing, making a way where, it really was, a life or death situation, and that's kind of like left the chat, you know what I mean? Nowadays, people aren't doing it out of desperation, out of need, out of pure expression. Yeah. A lot of the time people are just doing it to look cool, or doing it because they want to be popular, or they were never cool before and then they started freestyling, and then now all of a sudden they're like a center of attention, or whatever the case may be, started singing and yada yada. Yeah. But, it's ultimately about what it means to the person, the history behind it, what you're contributing, and, what you're doing to set yourself apart. Because if you're not doing that, then you're just, you're sinking.
No, that part, bro. They ain't trying to get it out the mud and shit.
Facts. Because, it's too hard a lot of the time. People want the easy route, but we had to pull ourselves up from the bootstraps and really, make something happen, and I've never been handed anything, and, I've never been, privileged or silver spoon babies, you know what I mean? And, shout out to them, everybody has their things that they were given, whether or not they wanted it or asked for it. But at the same time, there's some of us who really had to grit and grind and make something out of nothing. And, I don't take that lightly. I don't take any opportunity that I've been given or have worked for. I don't take that lightly. And, everybody that I've built with, I've always aligned myself with like-minded people and people that have the same kind of intentions, and it's always worked out, and I definitely pride myself in being able to do that.
No more 50 cents, get rich or die trying type shit. You know what I mean? No, that's true though. I agree with that though, man. Positive message you want to leave the viewers and the people listening, as far as like like what we just talked about, getting it out the mud, building it from the ground level. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Facts.
So let's, I want to give you a chance to, set that message out to the folks.
What I would say is that keep pushing, keep being original. In this point in time in our society, it's really about copycatting and trying to be like somebody else. But I think no matter how hard it is, being different is always going to benefit you personally and going to push you forward in ways that you never expect. Because when you're original and you're stepping outside of the box and you're trying to set yourself apart from everything and everybody else, you're going to be a diamond in the rough. You're going to be a point of inspiration to people that are trying to do the same thing. And, being an artist is hard nowadays because, I always believe that the music is the easy part, You know, it's easy to make music. It's easy to jump on a beat and rap and say whatever.
Yeah.
But the thoughtfulness behind it, the meaning, the intention behind it, you know, that's really important, because whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether it's put together events, whether it's, you know, trying to bring people together, whether it's a nonprofit organization, no matter what it is, if you're filling a niche that isn't filled already, you're definitely going to set yourself apart, and you're definitely going to grow in ways that you never expect. Because when you're making something different, it's like cooking. If everybody's cooking chicken and you come with a steak dish or you come with a vegan dish, you know, you're going to get pushback from people who are super used to doing it one way. But, you know, you have to be different. You can't just live your life as a lemming and follow the next man and follow the next woman and follow the next idea. You know, us as humans, we grow with ideas, we grow with inspiration and grow with epiphanies and things that we never thought of or never seen and never experienced. That's ultimately how we grow. So what I would leave anybody with is leave yourself some room to grow, and make sure that you aren't trying to be like the next person so bad that you lose your individuality and lose your opportunity to grow as an individual. And, you know, you even if it's not the popular thing to do, or you're not in a group of popular people or whatnot, you could still thrive. And you can still, you know, expand. One of the things that I definitely want to encourage people to do is leave out of not only your comfort zone, but what's familiar to you as far as landscape, as far as environment, as far as your hometown. You could always come back, always represent your hometown wherever you at, but go somewhere else, visit new places, you know, try new foods, listen to different new music. If you go to different cities, go to different First Fridays, you know what I mean? You'll be inspired, and you'll see these things that exist in different parts of the country that you'll never experience unless you step out of yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely recommend anybody, if you get the chance, you know, venture out of your comfortability, and that includes what you're comfortable with personally. You know what I mean? If you've never sang or learned an instrument or learned a new language, do something different. You know what I mean? Expansion. That's really what this life is about to me, is expanding and growing. And, you know, how you can do that without, you know, being an asshole and being a piece of shit. You know, just be a good person, and, you know, good things will happen.
I like that. Yeah, be a good person first and foremost.
Yeah,
and
man.
Get out your comfort zone to add on to that.
Yeah.
And damn, I had it in my head.
Yeah.
I had it in my order.
No, for surely.
I appreciate you sharing those, those positive messages for the viewers and for the people that made it this far into the podcast.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you as far as just getting out of your comfort zone, being original.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We're all meant to create. You know what I'm saying? We all have something we're good at, we're passionate about, and we should lean onto that more. You know what I'm saying?
Support.
As people.
Support is huge too.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. I had this post on Facebook recently where I talked about all these people that would ask me, "Oh, how do I get on shows? Get me on this show. How do I get on shows?"
Yeah.
And I had basically broke down the ways that you do that. The first thing I put was go out and support. You know, go to these shows and support people and support these events. And don't expect to get put on. Just go out to be a part of. How do you expect the scene to support you if you don't support the scene?
Yeah.
You know, that part. Also, you know, networking. Also, you know, obviously being a good person. And then, you know, obviously one of the main last points was the content itself. You know, the content has to be good as well. Yeah. You know, and that's as subjective as that is. You have to look at it objectively and, you know, just make good music that people want to, you know, people would want to hear. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily have to try to impress everybody or try to make music for everybody. But at the same time, you don't want to just make music just for nobody to listen to or just your homies or yes men to listen to. Definitely want to put yourself out there, want to support. You want to do these things to kind of, you know, put yourself in a position to win.
Show some love, man.
Yeah,
show some love.
Straight up.
Well, DOX Black, man, I appreciate you coming down to
Salute,
the Emblem
man,
Studios
salute.
and doing this podcast with us. I do apologize for the back and forth, trying to get it
Oh,
coordinated.
hey, timing, bro. Timing is everything.
Hey,
And we
timing is
all
everything.
busy, man. And you know what I'm saying? I appreciate just the effort and to making it happen. And you know what I'm saying? Definitely, you know, I look forward to the next time I'll be out on, you know, Culture Night Market and all the things that
Yeah,
come
be
along
tuned.
with it,
Stay
bro.
tuned for that. It's
Yeah,
gonna
for
be
sure.
out. We're gonna make that happen
Yeah.
for sure this year. Sometime this year is gonna
for
happen.
surely. And look forward to bringing the band out too. That was
Yeah,
a
we
great
need
show.
the Aquanauts. We need
Yeah,
that.
yeah. On Juneteenth, that was crazy last year at PayPal Park. Bringing them out was a real special thing, especially for the movement of Juneteenth
Yeah.
and stuff. That meant a lot. So you know,
Hell yeah.
definitely looking forward to bringing them out in any capacity.
Hell yeah. No, we're gonna run it back, man. Well, once again, man, I appreciate you coming down to Emlyn Labs. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
DOX Black in the
Salute,
flesh
salute.
himself. Thanks for spreading them spread the positive love and the messaging and sharing your experience.
Yeah, man.
But we're gonna go ahead and conclude this. It ain't exclusive. If it ain't an Emlyn exclusive, it's your boy BQ, DOX Black, and we out.
Yes, sir.
Peace.